In the last video, we got some application note code from the Atmel website working on a specific AVR microcontroller. However, this has left us with a pretty large main file. And what typically we would like to do is split out all this great code related to interrupt-driven UART communications into a UART driver. So how do we split this up? A lot of the principles covered here are covered in a little bit more detail in the great application or a great tutorial on AVR Freaks by Dean Camera, Managing Large Projects, and that's available both on AVR Freaks and as a PDF. So let's get straight into this. So all the defines, we can delete the code which we can see is not compiled for our projects. But in general, we're going to take the defines and the function definitions and add them to a header file. So we're going to add a new item, which is a include file, and we're going to call this USART. I'm going to call it IRQ to be a little bit more specific, and we're going to put these in here. So those are the buffer defines used in our project. Then when we get to the variables, the variables and the functions themselves go into a new C file. No, these are still the defines. So the variables will go into the C file. As well as most of the rest of the functions. Well, the function prototypes, as we know, we're going to put them in the H file. We'll leave main, and that will pretty much be sitting by itself when we're done. And all the rest are the functions which are going to constitute our UART driver. Okay, so as we paste these functions into a separate file, you can notice that there's a lot of red, and this will not compile. And that's because we also need to we need to define things where they're used, and so we also need to have these include files from our original file also in our UART. Okay, and the last thing left to include here is our UART IRQ.h. Just a little hint, if the inverted commas, it tends to be, it's because it's local to your project. And in our main, we now include also the same H file. Okay, let's compile and see if we can run. And it's working. So now we have managed to split up our application note code, so it's more easy to now continuing adding functionality to this project. And this UART driver we will use as we pick up on that project with the light sensor and the PWM.